Where are the guys that still think traditionally?
I don't think our man anymore. I think they've gone soft.
The number 8,501 that I cannot stand online dating.
I don't know if you can tell, but I've been crying. Just talking about dating. It's so hard. But as a 36-year-old single...
Men are avoiding the dating scene, and it's taking a toll on modern women. They keep searching.
I didn't know what a passport bro was until one of my recent videos did well.
Every man I meet is always like, I just want peace. I just want a woman that gives me peace. Leave me alone.
Over there, you see an American guy coming to visit, and you're like, oh my God, God is on earth.
I thought women were supposed to stand together. Looks to me, they're shaming each other. Kindly subscribe to the channel, as it further supports us in our work. Thank you.
I think the best thing to do if you are single and you want to meet somebody and you're done with dating apps is you have to romanticize life. So you never know who you're going to meet, because truly we could meet our soulmate tomorrow. You never know.
I was humbled so quick tonight. I was on live with my boyfriend and someone was like, how old's your girlfriend? And John jokingly responds 47. And the girl comments, oh, I thought she was early 30s. I am 23.
To be a passport bro is to be irredeemably arrogant in a body bloated with ignorance, despair, and a lack of shame. But one of my favorite things about the passport bros that you can't deny is that they are determined and disciplined enough to try to prove a point that just doesn't exist. The point being is that every woman in America is just too masculine and we're just too bad, and they cannot find a mate here, so they have to go elsewhere to go find a mate. It's giving tourism, I'm not gonna lie to you. But anyway, my favorite thing about the passport bros these past couple of years is that no matter where they go, the women know. And it's a very easy connection because they're tourists in these countries. So they're not just any kind of tourists having fun in the Dominican Republic, going to Kenya and having a ball. No, they're arch tourists basically. Because what? They'll complain about women's femininity issues in America. Women want this, that, and the third. Women are ungrateful. Women are entitled. They lack accountability. Hinga-dinga-durgan. Just to go off and bypass all of that and throw their hard-earned American cash in a foreign woman's face, and they eat it up.
Another one that doesn't care about the passport bros, and yet is very much invested. She actually listed all the reasons why men are leaving, and they will continue to leave if women in the West continue to act that way. And these men would rather spend their money where it matters. One thing she's not going to list, though, is the passport cis, traveling the world, thinking they're going to find a man to take care of them. Many of them are struggling. The truth is, while passport brodos are building connections and finding partners who value respect, support, and partnership, passport cis is often facing a much tougher reality. They head out with high expectations, hoping to find a wealthy man who will cater to them, only to discover that men abroad aren't impressed by entitlement or unrealistic demands. These men want women who contribute to the relationship, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And those are the qualities that many modern Western women lack.
Bring back manly men. Back in the olden days, men used to die in the war. They would be forced to go to war and die. Your office job doesn't sound too bad now, does it?
People be like, these American guys are going across the country to find Filipina slaves. Girl, you're just not doing your job. You are just not doing your job properly. That's why they look for us, because we do it good.
Where are the guys that still think traditionally? Like being committed to one person, not cheating, basically like an old school relationship. Where are they? Because I'm in Orange County and I cannot find not one. I tried dating in the real world, and that just turned into him wanting to be in a relationship, me being faithful, but him being able to fuck whoever he wanted. What's going on? Is this how every guy in California thinks? What's happening here?
Well, either you have to move somewhere else or take a good, hard look around you. It doesn't sound like you're struggling to find good men, madam, because good men are everywhere. Seems to me your real issue is picking the wrong men, and that's a pattern only you can break. Good men don't just vanish into thin air. They're out there, but they aren't flashy or playing games, so maybe they're easy to overlook when you're chasing the wrong type. If your choices keep leading you to disappointment, Maybe it's time to stop blaming the pool and start looking at the person doing the fishing. The question is, are you ready to change your approach and recognize them? Or will you keep repeating the same mistakes and wondering where all the good men have gone? Many women do this and then realize they're falling into the same pattern over and over again. The whole idea of not being able to find a good man is a myth. These men are right under their nose. They're the ones not looking.
This generation of men aren't romantic at all. And I could say something like, this generation of women don't cook at all, but that would probably get me in trouble, right? I feel like a lot of men aren't romantic anymore because we have told them that we didn't like those things. We don't want him to open the door because we're capable of opening it ourselves. We don't want him to buy us flowers because we're able to buy our own flowers. If you want your man to be romantic, tell him the things that you like. Show massive appreciation when he does those things. And don't ever discount his efforts by saying something along the lines of, "You never buy me flowers."
I agree.
Biggest issue with these passport bros aren't that they're getting passports and going to find the love of their life. I think when it starts to be kind of weird is when you only date people outside your country, right? If a passport bro were to say, "Oh yeah, I only date Asian women," right? That is a fetish. That's not a passport bro, right? Passport bros are people who specifically go from country to country to country trying to find women, exotic flavors, to dabble in, right? It really starts becoming weird when you go to third world countries or countries that are not as advanced as ours and start telling women that you're going to marry them and a lot of these women are desperate, so they're going to take you up on that offer, right? And in a way, it's kind of manipulative, right? They want someone who is going to be submissive to them. And what better way to find someone who's submissive to them than to find a woman who is at your beck and call? Because, the only reason she's in the United States is because of you. Sounds to me like a lot of control issue, right? And to be honest, ladies, these aren't the type of men that we want anyway. These men want a woman that they can control because they can't find it here in America because it's frowned upon to own a human. They go to other places in the world where they can legally own a human.
I'm sure you can read the caption up there, but this woman really recorded a video bashing men while at work. Must have a lot of time on her hands. But truthfully, this sounds like projecting her own loneliness and frustrations, because deep down, she knows she's undesired by men. It's easy to throw shade at others when you're struggling to get the respect and attention you think you deserve. She mentioned men are looking for exotic flavors in women from other countries, like they're choosing an ice cream flavor or something. That comparison is not only shallow, but it also reveals a lack of understanding about what men are actually seeking. They're not out here looking for a novelty to taste for a moment. They're looking for women who carry themselves with dignity. The idea that passport bros are only after women they can control is pure nonsense. It's rooted in a misconception about men wanting power or dominance. The truth is, many women in the West, unfortunately, don't act in a way that warrants respect. They often treat men like wallets or stepping stones.
It hurts me when my straight friends are like, "Ugh, I can't find a man. I guess I'm gonna have to go gay." I have 2% of the population to choose from. I have never before in my life been hit on by a woman in public. Please tell me more about how it's hard for you to find a date when I have to literally get on a plane to another country to go on one.
The difference between a basic man and a high value man is that if he gets disrespected, the basic man usually reacts with disrespect too. So he wants to give it back to him. But a high value man will stay collective. He just received disrespect, which is not cool, but he's gonna walk away from that because he doesn't tolerate that and he's not gonna go down on his level and he's just gonna walk.
Nonsense. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Whether a man is high value or not has nothing to do with how he reacts or responds to disrespect. I think the word she's looking for is self-respect. A man who respects himself doesn't waste time arguing or trying to prove a point in a conversation where he's being disrespected. He simply disengages, walks away, and moves on with his life. That's true self-respect, understanding that his time and energy are valuable, and he won't waste them on someone who isn't willing to treat him with the same respect. So once again, this idea of it being tied to whether a man is high value is flawed. A man can have all the material success in the world, but if he doesn't carry himself with integrity and self-respect, he's not truly high value in the eyes of other men. And that's where women get it wrong when they talk about high-value men. Their definition often revolves around money and status, thinking that's what makes a man worthy of respect.
Having a guy plan dates, initiate them, move things forward is important to women, but not because of the reasons you think it is. When it comes to modern dating, there is something called the mental load, and that just basically means the logistics. Women think about these things all the time. We are conditioned at a very young age to think this way. Tasks around the house, keeping track of to-do lists, birthdays, sending holiday cards, and it's not guys' fault, but they weren't conditioned to think this way. So when women meet a guy who can move things forward, they don't always have to keep doing the footwork. It is so refreshing, not just because of chivalry, but because of the mental load.
Single dad, I did all the mental load for the family. When do I get a break? Yet, it still sometimes never seems to be enough. Men, stop being the only ones planning. It's just not worth it. So the thoughts of an adult? Yes, guys totally don't have those.
I've noticed that there's a lot of beautiful women that are single. There's a lot of beautiful women that struggle in keeping a man. I know you guys are going to be like, oh, it's because they have high standards. Nope, that is not why. It's because these women only have beauty to offer. And some of that beauty isn't even real. A lot of them are buying their beauty. The problem is that they think that this is what's going to keep a man. No, men are not as shallow as women love to portray them. If men were truly shallow, like how you guys want to portray them, then these women would all be in happy relationships, right? The thing is that, yeah, of course, beauty attracts a man, but it doesn't keep them. Personality, your values, your morals, that's what keeps them. You treat them is what keeps them. So I don't know, I feel like women are definitely more shallow than men these days, because whenever I ask a woman, what is it that you're looking for in a guy, it's always a response along the lines of like, oh, well, he has to be a provider and this and that, but it's never, they never speak about morals, values, they never speak about things like that.
Yes, a lot of women are single because all they have to offer is beauty, but the real reason they can't keep a man is their personality. Just take a look at modern women today, aggressive, combative, and often carrying a sense of entitlement. They walk around like they're God's gift to earth, expecting men to love them as they are without making any effort to improve themselves or contribute meaningfully to a relationship. The problem is that beauty alone isn't enough to sustain a connection. Physical attraction might get a man's attention, but it won't keep him if there's no kindness, respect, or compatibility behind it. Men value peace and harmony in their relationships. They don't want to come home to arguments, drama, or someone who's always trying to challenge them instead of supporting them. Modern women have been sold the idea that they can act however they want, and a man should just accept it because they bring themselves to the table. That's pure insanity.
I do not mean this in a pick-me type of way, but ladies, chill out on your man. Go let him be a man and do him. Go let him be out with his homies and leave him alone. Let him live his best life. You shouldn't have to question his loyalty or his integrity when you're not around. If that's the case, you shouldn't even be investing yourself in him in the first place. Because one thing about it, when I want to go out with my girls and do me or have my alone time, please don't be blowing my phone up asking what I'm doing, where I'm at, who I'm with. Absolutely not. Successful relationships have an established trust. Successful relationships require both parties to be secure within themselves to be able to come together as one and accept that your partner or your spouse has his or her own life outside of you. Like I said, if you have to question what they're doing when you're not around, shouldn't even be with them in the first place.
And I also want to talk about why this mindset that so many Western women have is actually extremely problematic. Because not only are you putting down the men who are going overseas with pure intentions, you're also putting down the women from these other countries solely off of the fact that they were not brought up in a Western culture. Because you're calling them uneducated, you're calling them poor, you're calling them weak, you're calling them vulnerable. You're creating a superiority complex where you are at the top and women from all these other countries are at the bottom. Now let me tell you something. If you were really superior, the men would not be leaving, and you would not be single.
Western women often put women in other countries down, claiming superiority as if they're flawless. But if that were truly the case, men wouldn't be leaving in droves to find these women they supposedly think they're better than. It's a contradiction that speaks volumes. If you were everything you claim to be, why are so many men opting to leave instead of staying? The truth is, these women in other countries possess qualities that Western women could learn from if they stopped bashing them for a moment. Instead of tearing them down or criticizing men for wanting something different, maybe they should take a page from their book. Men aren't leaving because they hate Western women. They're leaving because they want something real. And if Western women spent less time bashing everyone else and more time reflecting on how they could contribute positively to a relationship, they might find that men don't need to look elsewhere to find happiness.
Okay, you know when you're single and like people are always saying like, oh, you never know where you can meet someone. You might meet someone at the grocery store. Is that for real? Who's doing that? Like, I'm legitimately asking, can you meet someone at the grocery store, and if so, how? Because I just saw the sexiest man walk into the grocery store today, and I thought to myself, if I wanted to approach him, how the hell would I do that? What do I possibly say to someone? Because first of all, if people come and talk to me in the grocery store, I get pissed off. I'm in there for one reason and one reason only, to shop and get the fuck out. I'm not there to socialize. I'm not there to chit chat. I'm running around the grocery store like a maniac because I have things to do. But if I wanted to go say hello to a sexy man, I don't even know what I would say. Hi, what are you shopping for? What's your name? Who are you? Like, what? How do you even start a conversation in a grocery store? Genuinely asking, has anybody ever met a person of interest in a grocery store, and has it ever gone anywhere? Because I'm just so curious. And if so, teach me how.
This is how men feel today when trying to approach a woman: hesitant, cautious. Except now, many men are choosing not to do it anymore. On the other hand, approaching a guy is incredibly easy for women. They barely have to do anything to grab a man's attention. A simple hi, or even just a smile, can effortlessly spark a conversation. Men are naturally more receptive because they're not used to being approached. It's rare and often flattering for them. Women don't realize how much easier they have it in this regard. They hold the power to initiate without the same fear of rejection or scrutiny that men face. Men, however, don't experience this luxury. They're the ones expected to make the first move almost every time. But, truthfully, I think most men would like the idea of being approached by a woman. Long as she's not being a creep, of course. See what I did there?